but I would love for you to give your tips around conflict resolution. What do you believe people need? Because you mentioned peace and progress being the two really fundamentals to a healthy relationship, and I love those, because what I
Mm,
found is while there are the love languages and how do you sweep each other off our feet and have the dream relationship and whatnot, the basics, without the basics, those things,
mm,
I created a little bit of a quote, which was, trust precedes fantasies.
mm.
And that's really true for me in a relationship. So I would love to get your kind of what you would prescribe for both people to have as a baseline, or any guidelines around healthy communication or conflict resolution.
Mm. So conflict is healthy. Conflict is an indication that there needs to be some more communication. Conflict is an indication of unmet expectation, right?
Mm,
And so it's something that don't necessarily see it as a barrier, see it as a way into something. Okay.
mm,
Now, how someone handles conflict will determine whether or not that relationship can move and grow through conflict. For example, if
yes.
you have someone that just shuts off, that becomes really difficult to be able to deal with what needs to be dealt with because they're just emotionally blocking. If you have someone that becomes aggressive and abusive through conflict, obviously that's very toxic and it's not healthy. Okay.
Mm,
And it can be very detrimental and impose trauma. Conflict is something that I believe needs to be handled almost like a terrorist and a friend at the same time. Okay. So there needs to be this balance. For example, there's a certain way to communicate with men as you would with women. For men, I have a little formula that I tell all my women, and that is the first thing you need to do is affirm, because I believe that the strongest love language of a man is words of affirmation. Then
we
you
want to be
need to,
appreciated. We really want to be seen and appreciated.
exactly.
Mm,
So let's say, for example, he's not doing anything around the house. He's not helping out with chores. Okay. Typical sort of like resentment that will build up inside a woman. Like, oh, crap, why is he not doing anything? Blah, blah, blah. Okay.
guilty on that front.
Going, right. So going in and accusing him or attacking him is going to make him put his walls up. He's going to say, hang on a second, you don't see what I do, like you said, because men need that affirmation and appreciation.
Yeah.
And I'm not enough, or I'm failing, or, like then he starts justifying and it all just becomes really messy. And basically she's coming from a place of, well, by you not doing this act, it means that you don't care enough about me in the relationship. And when that's not
Mm,
why he's doing, he's maybe just forgotten because he's busy and he's thinking, well, I do all this stuff instead, and it all
mm,
just becomes this messy sort of, again, miscommunication and expectation. So what I say is affirm first. I love when you do this for me. Affirm something that he either is doing first, or affirm when he does do something. Okay. I love it when you help me with household chores. It makes me feel like I'm really supported. Okay. The
mm.
second thing you do is you then example. Okay. Oh, explain. Sorry, you then explain. Men respond more to logic than they do emotion. Don't go and express. You never do this. You always do this. Blah 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 blah. Two words you should never use in a relationship is never and always. You never do this. You always do that.
I
Right?
love that.
Okay.
That is such a nugget in itself.
um, so then
Uh,
you explain. You use logic. I find that at the end of the day, I'm super busy. I would just really appreciate it if you'd be able to just hang out the clothes, because I'm trying to do this, this, and this. I see that you've done all this, and I really appreciate that you've done all that sort of stuff. But I'm just getting a bit overwhelmed, and it would really help me. Then what you do is you example. You give an example, like, if you can hang out the clothes because I'm just trying to get on dinner because, I feel like I can't do anything. I don't want to burn dinner because I know that, we want to have a nice dinner. Okay. So you're giving an example so that he can
yeah.
logically make something tangible and make sense of it. Then
Yeah.
you don't
I would say
accuse,
with the
you don't
example
demand.
as well, the more specific, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And keep it simple. Keep it just to like one example. Don't go give an essay. You have to compartmentalize your conversations with men, because they
Love
only
this.
process so many words, which is normal. So it's okay. It doesn't make men any more simple. It doesn't mean men are trying to avoid conflict or trying to avoid emotions. It just, men's brains are wired differently.
Yeah.
And if we understand as a woman how a man thinks, we're able to communicate in a way that he's able to more likely receive that communication, receive the message behind that communication.
I love that. That's amazing. Do you have any tips for men in the way to communicate to women? I would love to hear that, because that was great.
So I think
good.
For men, when it comes to communicating with women, is we talk to you because we want to feel heard. We don't necessarily want you to fix the situation, right?
Yeah.
Men go into, I need to fix this. Women are like, no, you just listen. You just listen. I just need to talk about this. I just need to say what I need to say and release this emotional buildup. Because what happens during puberty is there's a certain part of the brain which then takes a woman's emotion and turns them into words. Okay, so it's a chemical sort of neurological pathway that gets built during puberty, so women learn to be able to express emotions verbally. That doesn't happen for men. They literally learn it. So for us wanting to talk about things, hence why we speak 7,000 more words than a man in a day.
Wow.
It's not because we want you to just like fix it. We just want to talk about it. And we just want you to listen. But the difference is we want you to be actively listening. So things that men can do to show that they're actively listening are things like repeating back to us what it is that we said.
Yes.
You know, if I've just gone, I just feel like I'm not supported and my girlfriends never call me anymore, instead of a guy going, oh, well, then why don't you just call your girlfriends if you want to speak to them more, or go get some new friends. It's like, you don't understand me, It would be like, I understand. Yeah, you're right. It must be really like affirming our feelings and affirming what you've heard from us so that we can feel, oh, he understood. Okay, I'm good now.